Okay. Um, a few things that actually Turd Fling Monkey brought up. Feeding the cat. Cat was I could tell like cat was legitimately like asking questions like, wait, but are come on, come on, Well, okay, so there's actually a big deal here. Cat being from, I believe he's in London, or in one of the surrounding cities, judging from the way he speaks. Um, Caribbeans are a different lot. They're a different lot. It's a different bunch. They're not the same. Even in America, in the 90s, there are specific uses of patois. Well, it's because black Americans kind of consider the Jamaicans like they're sort of this more like wild, pure black people, and at least of that era of time. There was this like they're even more black than and probably Jamaicans think this too. That they're more African, really, is what they're more authentic blacks. The real thing. They're the real pure. They're the thoroughbreds. It's so fucking crazy. So fucking nuts. But yeah, so there's that. So they're more authentic. Their ways of behaving are therefore more admirable and should be emulated. This was a very common thing in American hip hop culture. So that to be kind of Rasta, it was a big deal. So you find this a lot in just the dreads coming back. Dreads will come in, then people cut their dreads, then dreads come back again, and now they seem to have been a firm part of the culture, but it does not appear um, any kind of real understanding of historical Rastafarianism or any of that really seems to be, or any kind of Rastafarian ritual lifestyle or something. But to some degree, that has spread. The sort of black Americans who eat natural and eat natural food and are like cosmic and woke and stuff, they're kind of it came out of like the Rastaman point of view, and the Rastaman reaction to modernism. And so like these London Caribbeans in their suits going to ska shows, where then you have the Rastaman in his Naya Bingi, in the backwoods, singing Cromanti and shit like that. Um, Americans have taken on this weird aspect of that, plus rural southern blacks, which we would associate with Master P and all those southern guys, all the southern rappers. The South was considered rural in the 90s. Nobody was there. There were people there, but also nobody was there. Like everybody was in LA and New York, really. And those were the big cities. Chicago, like these big historical cities. Suddenly a whole generation returned to Atlanta. And so there's this whole style, these waves of style. And really this is what everybody, when people think of black Americans now, that's what they're seeing. They're seeing something that is an invention from the 70s, and then in the 90s it added a whole new twist, and that's what you're seeing now. You're seeing a people who are vastly different than because I could remember in the 90s earrings and hats. The old folks hated this. They hated that we kept putting that these men were wearing jewelry and earrings. My mother, a man does not have red shoes. She simply would never permit me to have a pair of sneakers that were red. It's just simply not permissible. Men don't wear red shoes. And there were a lot of these weird things. Rap music wasn't on black radio. There's a famous song, like from one of the first albums by Scarface, of the Ghetto Boys, where he's talking about black radio has lost its soul, not from the other race but its own. A lot of bullshit records make hits because the radio is all about politics. And you couldn't get rap music on in Dallas, Fort Worth. And so you get then the famous rap music becomes famous because it's a thing that's only enjoyed at midnight while you and your friends are up late playing video games, smoking blunts, drinking soda pop because everybody else fell asleep, and you and your friends are up late playing video games. So black music, or that aspect of this young black culture of the 90s, starting in about 19, really this is all really taking off about 1988, that all of this 88 through 93, you get kind of this introduction of this experimental new weird form of music called rap, and people are doing all kinds of weird stuff with it. After 93, the formula of it becomes a standard for the industry, and then you see sort of the style, this industrial imprinted style that goes on, the gangster. This gangster who fucks hoes and strews the fucking world with his bastards. The you should fuck guys who every indicator is that this guy is actually like every form of trouble. Like, as time's gone on, almost every single kind of sex symbol of rap has become, in some way, shape, or form, something is worse about the guy. He's got bullet holes. He's got tattoos. Oh, he's got tattoos everywhere. He's got dreads and tattoos and a grill. You know, he's literally always holding a gun. You know, and you know, all they need now are guys like that are missing a limb or something like that. You know. You know, was I in prison? Oh yeah, I was in prison. You know, I'm famous for being in prison. My career started as a prison rapper. You know, rap music and the collapse of Black Americana. And so all this is all in contraposition to this traditional part of Black Americana where you have all these women. They're going to church every Sunday. They're spending hours there. They're helping, they're giving meals to old people. They're going to people's houses after church and just talking, just making food, talking, and then they go home. I mean, it's not till nighttime sometimes these women will get home. That healthy part of the community for men is something that you can find. You find it a lot on YouTube among Black Freemasons. That they're entering these norms that will make more black people. That's how black people were during the jazz period. This is how black people behaved. The rap music thing is something that is entirely, almost post-70s, post-Black Panthers. Not even post-60s, but this has nothing to do with Jimi Hendrix. This is Black Panthers and on. The El Rukins, the Crips, the Bloods, you know, Black Stone Rangers, El Rukins, just a number of fascinating gangs that you could find out about. There's a guy on here who that's his thing, Al Prophet, like Prophet. So Asians, when I was growing up in San Francisco, this was already very clear. This was not gonna, these two groups, this wasn't gonna work. This was not gonna work. I knew this was coming. I was leaving California because I'm like, these are not two groups that are probably going to merge well. With then this, I didn't realize why there seemed to be such a large influx of Latinos. Like, I really had not, nobody knew that there was just, it was becoming easier and easier to just simply come into the country illegally, you know, like, and that we were just, we just weren't doing anything about it at all. Like, it really was this thing where I'm like, I kind of registered it, but not really at the level, you know, not till it was, you know, into the second Obama term. I'm like, holy shit, you know, like, but, and this is all done on purpose. This is absolutely purposeful. It's just simply a negligence of not enforcing the law. That's all it is, just to stick it to the white labor base that in construction. This was a way of pumping up building houses, and this is a part of the whole housing boom and then crisis. And why? So then you can make sure the government hands out loans to whom? Black Americans. That's what the whole voting scheme was. That was how it all played out. And now that it's all coming apart, Who suffers? The blacks don't have the mortgages. The blacks don't have the houses. The blacks have debt. The Mexicans are leaving. There's now houses that are just falling into the ground. Whole neighborhoods that are no longer of use. It's just this disaster all around. It's the absolute. It was like this amazing fire of billions, trillions, maybe $1 trillion by the end of it all, just burnt. Woohoo! And there's going to be like this handful of people here and there throughout the country. I know some here in Oregon that some of these programs did help. They have a house, they possess a house, they now have multi-generational wealth. But overall, the program failed because the program was based on deceitful, a lack of discovery of price. Now Asians are suing because they have paid their dues in public school. They have done all the exams, and when they pay to have the exams done for colleges and for the SATs, they expect that it's going to reflect how they really did. They're completely in the right for these large class action lawsuits saying, what the fuck do you mean that these people get extra points because of their ethnic background? And that's absolutely true. This has been known about. Everybody looks at, it's just these people at the college boards. This is why college boards is over. College is over because of this. This is the beautiful part. I'm glad Turd Flinging Monkey brought this up, because this is, oh yeah, oh, my plans are coming into fruition, my friend. Is this ever going to go away? Are these people ever going to deal with IQ? Are they? Are they really going to deal with merit and IQ? All these college boards people, all these people they're measuring who really, who has all the scores, who has all the good marks, We need these people to build the future. Do they really give a shit? Or when they get orders that they're just to give Jerome, Jamal, Deshaun, more points, they're just following orders. They're just doing what they're told. That's just the job. They, at some point they're going. They got they're in data. They're just some coordinator, assistant director for the subject. This is just one of the many jobs they're gonna have. It won't hurt anybody. A few Jeromes and Jamals get a crack at the college experience. They're going to, maybe their children will grow up and will make the space elevator. And that's that's everybody gets to just do this thing. I'm probably doing something right. I'm probably doing something good. They'll never just say I should just I should just be honest. I should use honest measurements from the very beginning. No. They'll somehow justify it. That this is somehow good, this is somehow right. So we can't count on there being any reform. There's never reform. No. You must see that it is a completely fraudulent institution, and then you go, you all are just an institution of fraud. And they go, what? We are not frauds. And we go, we are shutting you down, and that's what really happens. You just shut them the fuck down, and you start over from the beginning. And the beautiful part is, it will be online entrepreneurs of education who will in some way, shape, or form have already worked in such a way that they can say, this course that you took from me, you definitely know this knowledge. You can then take these other sets of exams in this specific field. You can, this gives you so many CEUs, continuing education units or whatever, that's how it's going to be, because the money talks. And so private education, online and through small group institutional meetings, they just rent an office for a week and they go over something. That's the future. That's really going to be the future for people. And that we need these very large, ridiculously expensive plant institutions to go under. Because I mean, these buildings, these giant old buildings. Oh, look at the building! It has bricks and ivy. Oh, it's smarty pants. You know, the building, the legion of smart people are all in there. Yeah, how clever are they? There's that's a clever lot, aren't they? Clever lot. You know, clever lot right there. Snooker hall. Just a big old snooker hall. You know, you go in there, you know, Chang goes in there and come out, I'm broke. I only play one game. You know, and, you know, yeah. So, I play one round. One pint. Broke. How happened? You know, and so this has been coming. It's already happening that there's lawsuits about this. The Asians and black community are going to start bumping heads in this way, and it's not until you start getting an honest leadership group out of black America that discusses we are going to lose population. Because there's just no marriage, there's nobody marrying. There's simply not the correct number marrying, that you have the death rates, just normal death rates of people, and black people have different kinds of death rates. So when it comes to the sheer demographics, how many are in this age group, how many are in this age group, how many are in this age group, by 2040, black Americans will maybe shrink. This will be a 10 to 12% group of the population. I think right now it's like 12 to 14% of the population, something like that. It'll shrink because the baby boomers dying off too, and they will have been particularly long lived for the history of black Americans over the past 100 and 120 years or so. So this is disaster. This is, I mean, Monkey is absolutely correct. What the numbers say is absolute disaster. The sheer holding a community that is almost entirely in debt. Like, if you were to count black Americans and then do the debt thing, I mean, this is a hell of a lot of debt by ethnic group. It's a disaster. And I'm one of these people who, because I understand the concept of demographics, like this group, this group, this group of this group, all the same ethnic group at different age ranges and different influences on what motivates them. What do they think is normal? And because of this period of time where crazy is now the new normal, total insanity, AK-47 and coming on hose faces, you know, and world star hip hop, that and people do. Oh, come on! It's like, no, you don't. You're not listening to them. You're not looking them up online and seeing what do they say? What do they do? What does the music say? What does the music say they like? What do they say they like and they do? You know, it doesn't matter if you want to believe it's pretense. Just like it's 1990 and this music, it's terrible sounding, but, you know, nobody, you know, it's just guy wants to sound like a tough guy is all it is. He's like, I'm like this and I'm like that and I dance like this and I scratch like that, whatever, you know. You know, a bunch of braggadocio, if you ask me. Not Pete Seeger. This isn't the Nuge. But okay, so I'll just leave it there. Monkey's right. This is a demographic disaster, and it's because nobody in the modern world is being honest about like there's been nothing like, we don't have any group of people outside of some of the most dysfunctional groups in urban Britain right now. We have nothing, we've never seen anything like this. The sheer number of riots, mall riots, you look in, hundreds of youths fight, teens fighting, youths fighting, mall riot, school riot. You look all this up, you know, world star hip hop, stuff like that, and you just start finding, like, on a daily basis, you could find, you know, blacks just beating each other, beating other people up, robbing, killing, destroying. You know, and I mean, and the news, It will be on local news. It might be on county news. It might make it to this some kind of state distribution of channels. It will never get national news. None of this has had. There is no pattern to this. There is no pattern. There is no pattern to why there's all these votes in places, and there's too many votes for there's this number of adults, there's this number of votes. Oh, there's no pattern there. No, America is this real gangsters time in America, just like the specials say. And Trump is coming through like extra mega law enforcement. And so a lot of fraud shows up in the numbers, and Monkey was able to pick out that the demographic die-off of black Americans is the great, that's the one. All this deceit. It's like the libertarians, no coercion, no deceit. The deceit. And people are going to weep, and they will gnash their teeth, and they will be sad, and their sons will have no fathers, and it will be their fault. It will be their fault, and there will be no way around it. There will be too few people left to really, they'll want to point and point and point, but it's, somebody's got to put food on the table, so get those pointing hands working, because it doesn't matter now. What few children we have, they will have to be fed, and nobody is going to listen to your fucking blues song, and you don't even know how to play that anymore. At least Jamaicans can play you a reggae. It's disaster. And that's the thing, this isn't like Schadenfreude, this isn't, it comes out like, motherfucker, but it's this thing of people are watching it. This is fine. Oh, this is fine. The fempocalypse is showing up, just like the Monkey was saying, 85%? 85%, those dollars are going, this is fine. All the money just lighting on fire. Light it on fire. And they'll pay, and their sons will have no fathers. I don't know where that curse came from. I'm looking desperately. It was a curse. And their sons shall have no fathers. It's like, wow, that's rough, dude. All right, later.